Hi. So I thought a really cool thing to quickly do would be to show you how I just saved a couple like $8,000. So people think the wedding planners are nice to have, and they're like, oh, optional extra if we've got money left in the budget. Absolutely fucking not. A good planner who knows what the fuck they're doing and who can help you actually save money right from the start. So if they know the right deals, the right vendors, how to work around certain things, and how to actually budget properly, that's, I guess, the point of difference. Again, I drone on about this all the time, but I actually have a business degree and an events degree. A lot of coordinators don't. So they actually don't help you with all of this. They'll just go, here's a vendor, rather than actually going through the numbers with you. That is the main difference, by the way, between a coordinator and a planner. Coordinator kind of comes in at the last minute once you've done everything. A planner is with you from start to finish. So for busy professionals, doctors, lawyers, shift workers, we get a lot of like nurses and things like that. Even teachers, because they're obviously busy doing marking and all sorts of stuff, tradies who might run their own business, all that sort of thing. And we actually help you with the numbers so that you save as much as possible. Like, I love saving money, so why would no one want to save you money? I just thought I'd show you really quickly. This is what I did for one couple. So this couple, very busy professionals. They run a few businesses. They're always flying around the country. They're also about to have some babies. And I mean babies, like twins. So very busy at the moment. We were initially looking at, I won't give away their total budget just because that's obviously confidential, but we were looking around July for next year, 2027. And they were happy with that because in Australia, the winter is kind of the down season. So a lot of venues will have a lower minimum spend during the winter months, particularly in July, because everyone over here goes over for European summer. So it's the quietest month traditionally. I feel like it's changing slightly, but traditionally. So that means that no matter your guest count or whatever, you don't have to make, let's say, a $30,000 minimum spend with 150 guests. You might only have to make a $20,000 minimum spend with the same amount of guests, but you're more likely to reach it based on the food and bev that you choose. So they then decided, you know what, the one weekend that kind of really works for us in July wasn't available with the venue that we chose. Can we have a look at August, September, and even into October dates? The venue said, sure, absolutely. However, we do have this promo going during July. So just so you know, this is the price for August, and these are the prices for September and October, because it's coming back into peak season. So the promo that they're running during July is with a partnership company that they have for centerpieces. So it's free centerpieces for all of the guest tables. No limit. So if you've got 10 guest tables, you get a centerpiece for everyone. If you've got 25 guest tables, you get a centerpiece for everyone. So pretty good deal. Plus 10% off your total spend. Now, these guys do have quite a number of guests, 200 plus guests. They are looking at 250. So for the sake of this math, I want to show you they were heavily considering going into like a September, October date. And I had to call them and say, guys, absolutely fucking not. We are not doing that. If you want to do that, you need another 10K in the budget. And they said, well, Amy, we don't want to add another 10K to the budget. We barely wanted to start with the budget that you told us we had to have in the first place to do this. I said, well, either cut your guest list, because your guest list is always going to be your number one contributor to your budget, right? The more mouths you got to feed, the more mouths you got to give alcohol to, the higher your budget is going to have to be. I'm sorry, but that's pretty standard math, right? So unless you want to make people pay for their own drinks, or you're going to do it like on a property and do a BYO or something like that, which I have had couples do as well. They pay for the food, and then because everyone drinks so vastly different, if you're in a situation where you can do a BYO, obviously in a venue such as this one, that's not allowed. So yeah, the smaller you can keep your guest list, the smaller you can keep your budget. That's very much tip number one. So obviously they didn't want to extend their budget. So they said, well, what do you say we do? And I said, well, I'm going to show you something. And when I show you, because they're very visual, you're just going to say, okay, yep, sure, let's just find a date in July. So I think I've lined myself up. So the centerpiece offer, if they didn't go for this in July, an average centerpiece is $150. Hopefully this is going to show up. So let's write per centerpiece, right? Then there's roughly, they've got round tables. So the ones at the venue, they seat between like 8 and 12, but 10 is the sweet spot. So we're going to work off 10 people per table. Then they've got 250 guests. And that means that they're going to end up, give or take, because obviously they've got the bridal table and they potentially might have some less guests. They also are still finalising the guest list, so they might end up with slightly more. But let's say for the moment they're going to have 25 tables. So that's going to be obviously 25 times 150, because that's how many centerpieces. We're going to have 25 tables, so we're going to then work out the cost of how many centerpieces. That's going to be a total of 3,750. So that's the cost of the centerpieces, right? Then the food and bev pack that they went for was $165 times the 10% that they would get off in July. So that's the winter discount. That's going to equal, obviously I've done the math prior to that, so 165 times 250 guests. Again, give or take, because we haven't potentially added vendor meals into that, and then themselves, again, they could be on top of that. Their bridal party could be on top of that, plus then minus the 10% that comes out of that total is going to be 4,125. So then we're going to go 4,125 plus 3,750, 7,875. So in a matter of 2 minutes, we've just saved this couple nearly $8,000 by booking in July instead of August, September, October with this venue. So $8,000, they either don't need to increase their budget, or they can spend on styling the bridal table. They can get a live band instead of a DJ. They can put it in a custom decaled white dance floor. They can, she could spend that on her dress if she really wanted to. All of those sorts of things. So just make sure, one, if you're doing this yourself, you're actually evaluating everything in great detail before you book anything in. What is the better outcome? Do you particularly need to have it in September, October for some reason? Or would you rather save $8K and have it in winter? If you're going to have it inside anyway, like, does it really matter? If your ceremony's in a church or something like that and you don't need to be outside for any reason, you don't need to be cold, and I'm referring to that because obviously we're in Australia, July is winter over here. Yeah, does it matter? I would personally rather save the $8K. That could be, are you paying off a house? That could go towards the honeymoon. So if you've got kids like they're about to have, that's going to contribute to the children, very much so. So many things. Yeah, just if you're bad at this stuff, just know that this is exactly the stuff that we do in our full and partial planning package. So this is also very beneficial if you think a planner isn't worth it. This is part of what planners do for you.